Hey everybody, how you doing this morning? Guess what? It's friggin' snowing here. It's coming down pretty good out there. Glad I'm in my nice warm house. Well, we took the weekend off. It was a pretty good weekend, huh? Today we're gonna start talking about surviving like a Mad Max world. How you would avoid marauders and looters after the collapse. Sounds kind of fun, huh? So, in a Mad Max scenario, one of the worst case scenarios one can prepare for, the adage is, if you can't protect them, you don't own it. And it rings true in this case. Long-term survival plans that reflect this type of disaster suggest preppers getting away from the urban and suburban living and heading for the hills. Excuse me. One of the reasons I carried the old pistol around. So, while this would be the safest option, there are dangers that lurk, and for those who plan to live off the land, because it's a post-collapse world, they will come after what you own. So that sounds pretty bleak, doesn't it? Well, seems almost self-explanatory, right? I mean, what could be so involved with the term living with the land, right? There is a lot of it, and there's a reason to do this. Living with the land will help you live and avoid the greatest hunter of them all, man. Mankind has the same instincts as you do, the same success in the generations as you. Although this is not an anthropological treatise, it holds a lot of anthropology within it. Because there are a few key points that you must keep in your mind. Your weakness is a weakness shared by other men. Your strength is a strength possessed by other men. What can be done by the other men? The commonality of both your strength and your weakness, you become cold. So does the man for hunting you. The dark poses, implements, and unknown dangers, and it does the same for the hunters. Turn the hunters into the hunted. My notes. You can turn the hunters into the hunted, for you are a hunter. So what they're saying is if you're in the collapse, you're going to have to become the hunter instead of the hunted. It's hardwired in you through 1,000 generations of successful hunters, warriors, and killers. You need to eat, and so do your pursuers. You need water, and so do they. You can track, and so can they. You have senses that can detect man. So do they. All this, yes, you know, I'm sure. But have you considered it at all? Really considered it? The land, to blend in with it and to live without being obtrusive, is the key to avoiding the hunters. And remember that they have the same limitations as you do. The more pure and clear you keep your senses, the better they'll work for you. We have done some on the way, and the eye works in the sense of smell. This is the time to do your work. You're training to use these senses to their maximum capabilities. Let's cover the basics so that you know what to expect. When you're living with the land and avoiding marauders, foreign soldiers, forces of a dictatorial government, and so forth. So, here we go. Don't travel heavily traveled paths or roads, because they're going to do the same thing. Busting the brush will be the easiest way to do it, which means they're telling you to go off off path, travel around. And we've talked about this, learning how to use a compass and knowing your bearings and your situation. What's easiest for you is easy for them as well. Taking the harder path will oftentimes confuse and discourage the hunters. When you lay a trail for dogs or men, your scent of the dogs and your tracks of the men defeat both. Use the blue water feature to disguise and throw off the scent. Being careful not to leave footprints in the banks or the mud. So if you come across if you're off trail, come up on like a marshy path, then you'll need to go around it so you're not leaving a sign for them. You sleep during the daytime and you travel at night. So, you have to develop the ability to move at night. When they're eating, be on the move. When they're awake, you stay hidden out of sight. Booby trap all avenues and approach the high traffic areas. Just to remember that they're going to use probably the same traits through traps as you are, such as punji stakes, pits, and IEDs, which are improvised explosive devices, and we should all know that by now. If you want to win, or just play the good guy or the bad guy in the woods, that's what it comes down to. There's going to come a time to act, not just sit around, and with all your canned fruits and stored supplies, hopefully that time will come later instead of sooner, so that you can prepare for it. So as they pass through a defile, backtrack on them. Ambush them in off-the-road locations. A rockslide is a beautiful thing that can be initiated with a minor amount of explosives. Use animals as cover. Following them will throw off the trail of the dogs. So they're talking about deer and antelope and elk, all those things. Travel those same paths, because if they have dogs, then they won't be able to pick your scent up. So, always, when you sleep during the daytime, travel at night. We did that. So the key choke points for use in an ambush or to circle around them would be to pass through or backtrack on them, ambush them in the defile. A rock slide's a beautiful thing. Use animals as cover, following the wild animals. Your pursuers can be distracted. Yeah, I'll leave that for you to figure out. The standard fare can be imagined. Your job is to avoid them, not deal with them. If you do this, then you're doing the right thing. Don't try to win them over, because it won't work. All you're going to do is get yourself killed, and they're going to take what they want. And do not underestimate their tenacity. They may have you greatly outgunned with multiple ships to put you and allow you the scant amount of rest. This is when endurance and physical training comes into play. The thing that nobody wants to hear about. If it looks like it's a good hide site in plain view, take it. And if they will be sure to check it out if they see it. Don't put yourself underground even if you think it's a good idea, because they will catch you. There will be no exit point. So one of the things you're going to have to do is to practice, as well as enforce your plan. Sound boring? It's better than going to a small mall and spending the day meandering around with a herd of beeves. You have to develop these skills so that they're ready to employ at a moment's notice. The knowledge is not enough. You have to have the capabilities. It all falls in line with the Army saying, know yourself and seek improvement. Don't stagnate. Improve your ability. Learn to live with the land and you may make it through it. When man comes around, chill out. So, these are the signs and the ways that you want to do to take care of yourself after the collapse, because world without order will be in place and you'll have to know what to do when that happens. Most people are going to bug in, which means stay where they are, but there's going to come a time when the food shortages and whatnot is going to force you to have to leave. You're going to have to know what to do when you have to bug out. They're telling you to stay off the main traveled roads and to practice the traps, the hiding, the food preservation, all this stuff. It's all going to come into play. So I'm hoping that you guys got something out of today's thing, because it's going to be important for you to know these things when the collapse comes. There's going to be people out there that aren't going to be prepared, so what they're going to do is they're going to be the ones that become the hunters, because they're going to want to take care of their families. In order to do that, they're going to have to go out and hunt other human beings in order to take care of that. So you want to be one step ahead of them, and I'm hoping that I showed you the way with the facts this morning. So that's the lesson for today. Tomorrow we're going on to something else. With all the things going on in the world right now, these are things that you should be thinking about, things that you should be practicing. It's not any fun stuff for sure, but you can make it fun with your children and your other adult counterparts. Going out and camping in the wild. Most people go fishing, plan a camping trip and see what you can do to hone your skills that you're going to need during the collapse. That's my advice to you. As most people go camping anyway, go out there with the thought that you're going to try to walk around out in the woods and try to figure out what you would do if you were being hunted. Instead of being the hunter, you want to be, instead of being the hunted, excuse me, you want to be the hunter. In order to be the hunter, you have to practice, practice, practice. So, that's what we have for today. I hope you got something out of it. We'll be on to something else tomorrow, and hope it's better weather where you're at than it is here. It's coming down pretty hard out there. So anyway, these are what I was planning on doing for you guys today, because without rule of law, you're going to really be in trouble, And I would rather my friends be prepared to take care of themselves than to not be able to take care of themselves. So you want to be able to do those things that we talked about. Lay a trail for the dogs. Do the opposite things of your hunters. So if they're sleeping, you be moving. If they're moving, you be sleeping. Booby trap all your avenues. Learn how to booby trap. I think I've done a couple of videos on booby traps. Make sure you're not in an ambush situation. Don't get into a choke point. Use animal scent as your cover. Walk the game trails. Distract your pursuers, and do not underestimate their tenacity. If it looks like a good thing to hide in plain sight, don't do it, because they'll find you, especially if you go in a cave. There's only one way in, one way out. If you go in a cave, they're going to find you, and you won't be able to defend yourself. So that's it for today. That's the big lesson. Hope you got something out of it. Remember, I have that live stream coming up on Wednesday. I'm practicing some stuff with OBS, and I'm going to try to go live on OBS on Wednesday and try to surprise you with some stuff I learned. So until then, thanks for coming, and I hope you learned something. See you guys tomorrow.